guys, today I'll be showing you how to make this crochet hexagon granny square sweater. I know, quite a long title I've got going on, but I'm so excited to share the tutorial with you. I've been meaning to share the tutorial with you because I've gotten a few comments talking about Zara, can you please make a crochet tutorial for the sweater? And you already know I had to follow through, you know? So yes, this is the sweater right here. It's so cute, guys. Like, oh my gosh, like, who would want to make this sweater? I think this was honestly a pretty easy tutorial. I don't think it's necessarily hard. You just gotta pay attention. With that being said, that's enough talking, so let's just get started, okay? Okay. Alright, so this is the yarn I'll be using for this project. They're both Wait For acrylic yarn. It's actually by this brand. I love this yarn by Hobby Lobby. I freaking love this brand so much. I think the yarn is just so soft, but this is the yarn I'll be using. So to play it safe, I'd say do 2 of each skein if you're doing 2 colors, but if you're doing less than 2 colors, then you probably won't need 2 of each skein, maybe just 1 or maybe a half, who knows. For the materials, I'll be using a 5.75mm hook. I'm using a 5.75mm hook because it works up the stitches way quicker, it uses less yarn, and it honestly just makes more of that chunky effect, which is kind of what I was going for. And then we're using a tapestry needle, and then we're using a pair of scissors. Alright, so to build this sweater, this is how it looks just with one side. So we'll be building from here, and then we're going to come out, and then we're going to stitch this closed, make the sleeve, and then we're going to reattach our yarn and make the big opening so we have some extra length. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this. Alright, so we're going to start off with a magic ring, and in order to make a magic ring, basically what we're going to do is that we're going to take our yarn like this, and I'm just going to place it in between my ring finger and my pinky. Then I'm going to hold it, and then I'm just going to kind of wrap it around like this, coming back this way, make an X, hold on that X, bring it back, and it should look like this. Then I'm going to take my hook, I'm going to go under the first, over the second, grab it, pull it up like this, and then I'm just going to take the yarn right here, make a chain. That's how you make a magic ring. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to make sure that this just comes out my loop so it looks like this. And I'm going to go ahead and chain an additional 2 because right now we've already chained 1. So 1, 2. And then in this ring, we're going to be working 2 double crochets. And this chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's how you make a double crochet. So I'm going to make 1 more. So yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we've got 2 double crochets, and then this chain 3 counts as our third double crochet, so that's 3 double crochet total. Now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to work 3 more double crochets in this ring. So 1, whoops, 2, 3. Okay, so now we've got 2 clusters, so this is our first and then this is our second. We're going to need 6 clusters of 3 total, so I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to work 3 more double crochet in that ring, 2, 3, then I'm going to chain 1 again and work 3. So yeah, just keep doing that chain 1, 3 double crochet until we've got 6 clusters of 3 total. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got 6 of the 3 double crochet clusters in this magic ring. So to count, we've got 1, and then we've got this chain 1 space, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So now I'm going to just go ahead and close the ring by pulling on this tail. Okay, and then it's probably not closed properly, I'll just close it properly in a sec. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. As you can see, this is our first chain, like right here. This is our second, and then this is our third. So kind of like at the top, you're just going to go in there and make a slip stitch. And then I also like to tighten it, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pull on this again. So now we've got our first round done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with our next round. So to do that, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then as you can see, I can kind of pull this like space aside, and you can kind of see like in between these two, like right below our chain 3, we have this little space. So in this space I'm going to be working 2 double crochets. So 1, 2. Now as you can see, like this kind of forms a hexagon, and there's like corners of each hexagon. So in these corners for this very first or second row, actually it's second row round, so in these corners right here, which our next corner is going to be right here because we've got our 3 double crochet before our next corner. So in this corner we're going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then now that we've worked 3 double crochet, to complete the corner we're going to chain 1, and then in this same space we're going to work 3 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Now we've got 3 double crochet all in this one space. So now as you can see, we've got our next gap right here, because we've got 3 double crochet, it's our next gap, and we're going to work another corner. So we're going to do 3 double crochet in this gap. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to work 3 more double crochet. So you're just going to keep doing that around. You're going to go to the next corner, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, then go to the next corner, which is right here, and do that, and then until we reach the end, and then I'll tell you what to do in this last gap right here. So now we're back to the start, and then over here we've got our 3 double crochet in this gap, but we need to finish this corner. So I'm going to go in this gap right here and do 3 more double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and to end off the round I'm just going to chain 1, and then we'll slip stitch the top of the chain 3. Alright, so at this point I want to add a new color. You don't have to add a new color if you don't want to, but at this point right now I'm going to add a new color. So I'm going to show you how I switch colors for those who want to switch colors right now. So I've shown this method previously in other videos, but I'm going to show you again. So basically I'm just going to take my yarn, I'm going to kind of pinch it like that, and then I'm going to wrap it over with these 2 fingers and kind of hold it with my middle finger like that, and then I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to pull it through that loop, and then I'm going to take the white yarn or the yarn that you're using previously, and you're just going to tighten it so the new color is secure, and then I'm going to pull the tail of the new color just to kind of make the tail a bit longer so it can be easier to sew in later on. And then I'm going, with that new color, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now if you're not changing colors, all you would have to do is just chain 3 instead of doing all that joining, attaching. But now that I've chained 3 with my new color, I'm just going to turn it to the back, and I'm going to take the tail of my new color with the working yarn of my old color, and I'm just going to tie it into a double knot. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to snip off my previous yarn, and then we can just keep working around. Because we're using a big hook and everything, I like to just go in and sew in the loose ends on my own, so I'm just going to leave them out. But I'm going to yarn over, and in this gap we're going to actually do 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, so it looks like that. And mind you, this is a corner, so we'll complete the corner once we make it around to the other side. But now, this time, this is kind of a space before our next corner. So since we've got a space, we're only going to be working 3 double crochets in there. So 2, 3. Then we've got our corner right in here, and in this corner we're working 3 double crochets. And we're chaining 1, and then we're working 3 more double crochets in this space. Alright, so as you can see, we've got our 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. So now we're back in this gap, and in this gap we're just going to do 3 double crochets. Alright, so from this point on, this is just going to be a super repetitive type thing. So as you can see, we've got our corner in here, which is 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. In these gaps that aren't quite the corner, we're working 3 double crochet onto our next corner, which then we'll do the 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. So we're going to keep working around until we reach the end, and in this gap right here, we're going to do the 3 double crochets, and then we're going to chain 1 and attach to the top of the chain 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you how to work around one more time, and then from this point on, like I said, super repetitive. So yeah. So we've made it back to the end, and I've done my 3 double crochet in that very last gap. So now I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. Okay, now I'm going to chain 3. In this gap again, work 3 double crochets. Then we're going to go into our next gap right here, and we're working 3 double crochets because it's not a corner. And then we're going to go into our next gap again, which is not a corner yet, so we're just working 3 double crochets. And now we're at the corner, so in the corner we're working 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So that we've just done our 3, chain 1, 3 more in that gap. Alright, so we're just going to keep repeating that. Now if you're like, girl, when the heck and how the heck is this going to turn into a sleeve? If you kind of fold it over like this, you can kind of see the sleeve forming. Now obviously it looks a bit uneven right now because we've just added some new rows, but if you fold it over like this, you can kind of see the sleeve slightly forming. So the more rows you add, the bigger the sleeve will get. But yeah, it will look like this, and then obviously you would make the other one. But yeah, just keep on working the rows, and just remember that it's supposed to look like this because then it just folds into a sleeve like that. Completely forgot to mention is that the more you build up the rows, I'd recommend you hold it up to your arm and kind of see like where it fits, because ultimately this is going to kind of wrap around your arm and work as a sleeve. So you don't want it to be too tight unless you want it to be tight, or you don't want it to be too baggy unless obviously you want it to be too baggy. So make sure you're just constantly holding it up to your arm. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I did my 14 rows. It currently looks like this. Now obviously if I go like this, it's like one big kind of thing, but if you fold it properly, it should look like this. So what I'm going to show you how to do now is that we're just going to go and stitch this all together so then we can start making the sleeves. Alright guys, as you can see, my sleeve currently looks like this, and if you notice right here at the very right side, I've got my loop attached. So if I trail along here with single crochet, which is what we're about to do so we can stitch it together, but if I trail along here with single crochet, then we'll start on our opening for the sleeves, which is right here. But in order to do our single crochet, in order to start on the sleeves, we can't have it on the right side out because then you're just going to see our seam clearly. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to turn this wrong side out, but make sure that our loop is still on the right side. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll show you guys how my work looks. So my work currently looks like this. As you can see, this is my wrong side out because this side right here, so this is the right side out, and then this is the wrong side out. As you guys can see, this is clearly the wrong side out, while this is the right side out. So on the corner right here of my wrong side out, what we're going to do is that we're going to do a single crochet all the way to the end, okay, so we can start on our sleeves. Alright, so I'm going ahead and I put my hook in the loop. So to start seaming this together with single crochet, I'm going to go into this gap right here, okay, the chain 1 gap, and then I'm going to go into the chain 1 gap on this side, and then I'm just going to single crochet. Okay, then I'm going to go into the first stitch of the 3 double crochets, so the first stitch which is above here, and then I'm going to go into the corresponding first stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay, then I'm going to go into the next stitch, and then I'll go to the corresponding stitch, single crochet, so yarn over, pull through these 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that's what you're going to keep doing all the way around. So you're going to go into the next corresponding stitches and single crochet. And you're going to do that all the way down. Now if you don't want to do single crochet, you could do slip stitches as well. But I kind of like single crochet better because slip stitches, I feel like you can tell when someone does slip stitches, you know? But yeah, I'm going to keep doing single crochet. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing that. So from here all the way down to here. So I'll meet you when we get to the end. So I've made it to the end and I have one more gap right here. So I'm just going to go into the gap and then go into the corresponding gap on this side. And I'm just going to single crochet. Boom. Now I'm going to go ahead and instead of cutting off my work, because you see, as you can see, I'm being very much efficient and I don't feel like sewing in a bazillion loose ends. So I'm going to turn this back the other way out, but I'm gonna leave my yarn attached. Alright, so as you can see, I've stitched this up so it currently looks like this, and on this side we've got our yarn still attached right here. So you might be like, okay girl, now how the heck am I gonna get to my yarn, right? Just take your skein of yarn like this and just feed it through this, okay? So just put it in here and then pull it out on the other side. And then just turn it this way and see? And I can just keep working. So yeah, don't snip off your yarn unnecessarily when you really don't have to do all that. Okay, so now we're going to continue by making a sleeve. Alright, so to start on the sleeve, what we're going to do is that we're going to start off by chaining 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now that I've chained 3, as you can see, I kind of have these 2 gaps on both sides of the chain. So I'm going to go back into the gap on the right side, which is right here, and I'm going to work 2 double crochet in there. So now that we've done our 2 double crochet in this gap, what we're going to do is that we're going to go to this next gap in here and we're going to work 3 double crochet. And by the way, this chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to work 3 in here, so that's 2 and that's 3. Then we're going to go into our next gap and we're going to work 3 double crochet. Go into our next gap and work 3 double crochet. Go into our next gap and work 3 double crochet, and so on. So you're going to keep working your 3 double crochets all the way around. So right now we're right here. I'm going to go around like this and then I'm going to meet you when I get back over here. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and I've made it back to the start. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to locate my top of my chain 3. So this is like the first, second, and then the third is like up there. So in there, I'm just going to work a slip stitch. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to color change. I'm pretty sure I already showed you guys how to color change, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Oh, and if you're not color changing, literally just go ahead and chain 3 and then I'll show you what to do after you chain 3, but if you are color changing, just go like this, okay? Pull your yarn through, then secure it with your white yarn. So I'm pulling on the working yarn of my white, and then I'm just going to grab this yarn and I'm just going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to tie the tail of my new with the working yarn of my old color. I'm just going to do a double knot. And then I'm going to snip off my old yarn and then we can continue. Alright, so now that I've got my chain 3, I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into this gap right here. I'm going to grab my tails and put it over my hook because I want to weave over them as I go. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet. And I'm going to do one more of those while also having my tail still on top of my hook. Okay, and then I'm going to go into our next stitch and work 3 double crochet. Alright, so we've got our 3 double crochet. So from this point on, you guys are just going to keep working around the thing. So you're just going to keep going around until you reach the end. And then once you've gotten this last one, if you've done your 3 double crochet, you're just going to slip stitch, chain 3, just keep going around. So you're just going to keep going until you think it's covered your arm enough. I'm going to do 13 rows total, and then I'll come back to you guys. Alright guys, so my sleeve currently looks like this. I did a total of 13 rows. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a cuffing right here. I'm going to show you with my other panel so you can kind of see what I mean. Alright, so on this previous panel, when you see the sleeve right here, you can kind of see this cuffing that I've got going on. So we're going to be making that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so I've zoomed in on the sleeve, but now I'm going to be showing you how to make the cuffing. So I'm actually going to change my color because I'm running out of my white. Alright, so I'm going to pull my pink through, and then I'm going to tighten it with my working white yarn. And then I'm going to grab the tail and kind of pull it up so I have something easier to sew in. And then I'm just going to chain 1. And then I'm just going to tie my working pink yarn with my loose end of my pink yarn with my working white yarn. Okay, and we're going to snip off. Alright, so we're going to be working a single crochet decrease all the way around so we can kind of make the sleeve small, so then we can go ahead and make the cuffing. So to do that, we're going to go into this gap right here, and I'm going to weave over my tails as I go, so I'm going to kind of just secure it like this. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 1. Okay, then I'm going to go into the next stitch, insert my hook. I still have my tails over my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Alright, so now I'm going to go to my next stitch right here. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1. We have 2 loops. We're going to go into our next stitch, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through 1, 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so we're going to keep repeating that all the way around while I'm weaving over my tails. Go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 1. We have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so you're going to keep repeating this. From here, I'm going to go all the way around until we reach the start. So we've made it close to the end, so I'm just going to go in the stitch right here and yarn over, pull through 1. We have 2 loops on our hook, and I'm just going to go into space, honestly. I'm just going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. I'm just going to tighten it. So as you can see, our cuff is currently looking like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch to the very first stitch. Yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over, pull through the other one on our, and tighten. So your cuff should look something like this. So you've very much just decreased the entire sleeve. So now we're going to make the ribbing. I'm actually going to size down on my hook to make the ribbing because I feel like it just looks a bit neater rather than using a 5.75 hook. I think I'm going to size down to a 5mm so the ribbon looks neater. But if you don't want to size down, you don't have to. But I'm going to size down because I think it looks neater that way. Alright, so I've got my new 5mm hook, so now we're going to start. So to start, I'm going to start off by chaining 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So now that we've got 6 chains, what we're going to do is that we're going to skip the first chain that's closest to our hook, and in the second chain right here, we're going to work a single crochet. Okay? And then we're going to go down each chain and work a single crochet. So we're going to go into this next one and work a single crochet, go to the next one, go into the next one, go into this one. This is the last one. Okay, is that we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So we're going to go into this first stitch right here, so right below this, so right here. Alright, so I'm going to yarn over and pull through 1, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the other loop on our hook. Okay, then I'm going to go into our next stitch, which is right here. I'm going to do another slip stitch. Yarn over, pull through this one, and then yarn over and pull through this one as well. So then what we're going to do is that we're going to kind of turn our work to the side, so it's like this. So now we're working on this side of our chain, and I'm going to kind of tilt my work up. Now as you can see, we've got our 2 slip stitches right here, so we're going to go into our chains right here, and in this first chain I'm going to work a single crochet, And then I'm going to kind of turn it, and in the back loop, so instead of going under the whole thing like we just did, we're gonna go into the back loop. So this is, if we were going under the whole thing, it would be like this, but we're not doing that. To go in the back loop, we're just gonna go like this, and we're gonna work a single crochet. So that's our first. We're gonna go to our back loop for the second one, and work a single crochet. And then we're gonna go to our back loop of our third one, and work a single crochet. And then instead of going to the back loop for the last one, we're just going to do a single crochet under both. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain one. I'm going to turn my work over once again. And I'm going to work a single crochet in this first stitch. This is our chain one, and this is our first stitch right here. So we're going to work a single crochet. Then we're going to look at our back loops, and we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop for the next three. So it's our first, go to the back loop of our second, and then it's the back loop of our third. And then we're going to go into this last stitch right here, and we're going to work a single crochet. Okay, then we're going to see our work like this. And as you can see, like our chain is kind of like in this loop right here, if you can see. Alright, so I want you guys to kind of see what I'm talking about. So do you kind of see like how this whole thing is all connected all in this one loop? Like this loop right in here. Like you see how it's kind of like in there? Like you see it? Like it's just in there. So we're going to obviously skip that stitch, and we're going to work a slip stitch in the next two stitches. So we're not going to go into this gap right here. We're going to go into here and work a slip stitch. So I'm going to go in and work a slip stitch. Go into our next, work a slip stitch. And then I'm going to flip my work over once again, and then I'm going to be working single crochets once again. So we're going to do our first single crochet in under both, then we're going to go to our back loop for the next three and work single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then in our last one right here we're just going to work a regular single crochet. Okay, now I'm just going to chain one, flip my work, and this is basically what you guys are just going to be working, okay? So you're going to be working your single crochets in each stitch, and then once you've reached the end, and by the way you work your last single crochet under both loops, okay? Then once you reach the end, you see how this is like kind of tugging right in here. You're going to skip this because you currently got this whole thing going on in this, and we're going to go into our next two, work slip stitches, skip our 2 slip stitches, go back over here, and then work our 5 single crochet, chain 1, 5 single crochet, 2 slip stitches, come back around, and that's what we're going to be doing. So just keep doing this all the way around, and then I'll meet you once we reach the end. Alright guys, so we've gone ahead and we've basically gone all the way around. So now that I've low-key made it to the end, I'm going to be showing you what to do now. Okay, so I'm going to go into this stitch right here. I'm just going to do my first slip stitch. And then, not even going to lie, I don't see like a second stitch to do my second slip stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and chain one and snip on my yarn. But before we snip it off, I just like to let you know, leave your tail kind of long. So don't just like leave it super short because you're going to end up regretting it. So make sure you kind of like leave kind of a longish tail. Okay? Because we're going to use this to sew this closed. So I'm just going to pull that through. Alright, so now we're going to grab my needle and I'm going to show you how to sew this closed like this. Alright, so I want to sew this closed in a way that you don't see the seam. So in order to do that, I'm just going to take my thing and I'm going to flip it this way. Alright, so I've kind of just flipped it like this. So we're going to sew it together like this so then it won't show on the other side. My needle through my yarn. And then I'm just going to kind of weave in and out of the stitches. So I'm going to go into this very first stitch right here. and then I'm going to go to the corresponding one, which is right here, and I'm just going to pull our yarn through it. Okay, then I'm going to go into our next stitch, which is right. Do you hear that airplane? Oh my goodness, so loud. Anyways, we're going to go in here, and then I'm just going to pull that through, go to our corresponding, pull that through. So we're kind of closing it up, as you can see. So then we're going to go into our next, which is right here. I'm kind of going in randomly, but I'm trying to make it look intentional. So I'm just going to go in right here. But basically all I'm doing is I'm just kind of sewing this closed. So I'm just going to go in this stitch, to the stitch right here, the second to last one. I'm just going to kind of line it up right here. And I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to come over here, go into this last one, and pull through. I hope this makes sense, guys. If it doesn't make sense, I'm so sorry. I don't even know what I'm doing myself. I'm kind of just going with the flow. But I've kind of closed it, as you can see. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go in one more time like this. And I'm going to come out the other side like this. Then I'm going to, you see my yarn right here? I'm just going to kind of hold on to, keep a hold of this while I pull through my yarn through both of that. So it's like this, and then I'm going to stick my fingers through, and I'm just going to grab this yarn and pull it through and then tighten it. Okay, so now we can just go ahead and weave this loose end in. But yeah, we've gone ahead and we've made the cuffing. I hope this made sense, guys. If it didn't make sense, basically all I did was that I was just kind of weaving in the stitches, like weaving in, like just like you're sewing two things together, and I was just kind of doing that. Alright, so as you can see, obviously I just showed you how to make this whole cuffing. So now we're going to kind of build up from here, and we're going to build up like this, because this right now isn't enough rows and we want to build some length. So if I put this panel that I made right now on top of this one, you can kind of see that I've built up some extra rows, and I'm going to be showing you how to build these extra rows. Alright, so I've got my panel right here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert my hook into this whole gap right here so we can start working all the way down. So I've zoomed in a bit, but it's still obviously the ending right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a slip knot. And then grab your previous hook that you were using. So we're no longer using the 5mm hook, we're now using our hook we started off with. I'm going to kind of tighten it on my hook a little bit, and then I'm just going to take it out my hook. And then I'm going to insert my hook in this gap right here, put my slip knot on my hook, and then I'm just going to pull it through. So I'm grabbing this and I'm just pulling it through like that, and then I'm just going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now in this same gap we're going to be working 2 double crochets. So to work, we're just going to go like this, and then we're going to work our first and then our second, like that. Alright, so I'm going to go into this next stitch and I'm just going to work 3 double crochet. I'm going to go into this next stitch right here and work another 3 double crochet. And so on. So basically I'm going to be working our 3 double crochets all the way until we reach the top. Right, so we've pretty much worked all the way up, and now I'm right here, and we've got this middle portion right here, and then obviously we've got our seam. So in this portion right here, before we've our single crochet seam, we're just going to work 3 double crochets. And then we're going to chain 3. And then I'm going to flip my work over, and then I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into each gap, so each of these gaps, and I'm going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, go into our next gap and work another 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. So we've made it back to the end. Now, as you can see, you're probably like, girl, where the heck are we gonna do our stitches, right? So as you can see, we've got our 2 double crochets before our chain 3. So in the middle of our chain 3, so right over here, we're just gonna work 1 double crochet. Okay, then I'm going to chain 3, but I'm obviously going to switch colors, but if you're not switching colors, I'm just going to show you real quick. You're just going to chain 3, you're going to flip your work over, and then you're just going to be working 3 double crochets again in each stitch all the way around. So this is what you guys are going to be doing. I did this for a total of 5 rows. So far we've only done 2 rows, so I'm going to do 3 more rows, and then I'm just going to attach my yarn on the other side, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, just going up, down, until obviously I do my 5 rows. Doing this just adds some extra length, so when you stitch both sides together, it doesn't look tight and weird. Alright guys, so I ended up finishing doing my extra rows onto this panel. So now go ahead and make your other panel, which I've kind of already made my other panel obviously. So yeah, go ahead and make your other panel, rewind the video if you need to, and then right now I'm going to show you how to stitch it together, but go ahead and rewind back so you can see how to make the other one, obviously. Alright, so I've lined the sides up, and I also went and I flipped it inside out, so this is the back side showing right now. And since we're stitching this closed with single crochet, we don't want the seam to be showing, so that's why we flipped both of them inside out. So you're going to grab your yarn, and you're going to make a slip knot, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook in the loop, and I'm just going to tighten it on my loop like this. Alright, so starting right here, I'm just going to insert my hook into this loop, and then I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through it like this, okay? Then I'm going to grab my other panel, and I'm just going to go in here as well, and I'm just going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through 2, okay? Then I'm going to go into this stitch right here, and I'm going to go into the corresponding stitch, which is right over here. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 of them, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Then I'm going to go into our next, which is over here, and over here, and we're just going to do a single crochet. Okay, then we're going to go into our next stitch, which is right here, go into corresponding and do a single crochet. So we're going to be single crocheting this all the way up, not all the way up to the end. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to stitch it up until I have about like an opening that I want, because obviously this is like a pullover, so I'm just going to stitch it up to about here, so we kind of have this part just open, because this is going to be the front of my sweater, by the way. Alright guys, so I've got about 13 stitches left, but I'm not going to go ahead and stitch them together. I'm going to go ahead and just chain 1 and snip off my work. I'm going to chain 1 and snip off. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch the back side closed. I've gone ahead and just flipped it to the back so you can see. So we're just going to kind of go up the entire thing this time without leaving a gap, and we're just going to stitch the entire thing closed with single crochets. Alright, so now that I've turned it right side out, I've pretty much have finished the sweater. This is how it looks. I still have all these loose ends to sew in. Now when you try it on, it's probably going to fit like a crop sweater, and if you don't like how that looks and you want it to be a little longer, you can just attach your yarn like at the corner, and then just like work your 3 clusters like all the way around, and then meet back at the corner, and just keep working around until you build enough rows going down. But I ran out of yarn, so I'm not gonna do that. But yeah. Alright guys, so here's how the sweater turned out once I've sewn in all the loose ends and everything. I've gone ahead and I've kind of just folded this like this to kind of have that whole pullover effect. But yes, it looks so freaking cute. But I'm probably going to go ahead and steam it because I want my sweater not to look stiff and I want it to look cute. So yes. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you can stay updated every time I post. I'm holding this camera, but it's so freaking heavy. I'm trying to act nonchalant, but like, oh, it's kind of heavy. Hold on. Anyways, if you do end up making this sweater and you'd like to show it to me, literally you could DM me. Here are my social medias, or like if you want to just post it, go ahead and post it. I've actually gotten a few posts and DMs like showing me the final result of like previous tutorials that I made. It's been such a fun experience seeing everyone's like recreation of my tutorial. Like, it's so lovely. Like I said, I'll definitely be more active and you will be seeing more from me. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.